Rubbish man adores his life as a digger driver so much he's celebrating his 55th anniversary working for the same company. His name is Gerald. He's 76. He started working at Longcliffe Quarry when he was 21 back in April 1968. And Jack Timon has gone to meet him. Morning, Jack.
Morning, Twigge from Longcliffe Quarry, where I'd just like to pop you in a time machine and take you back 55 years to the 1st of April 1968. That's when a 21-year-old Gerald Lees first started as a digger driver here. Let me bring you forward to the present day, 2023. Gerald is now 76 and he's still working here. Where I am at the moment, just on the edge of the quarry site, if I look over to the far banks where big, huge, ginormous diggers with their big excavating lids at the front are scraping away stone off the edge of the quarry. They're scooping it up and putting it in dump trucks. The one digger that is on the go at the moment is Gerald's digger. He's not in it at the moment. He's made his way over to this side of the quarry because I'm desperate to have a conversation with him and find out what it's like to stay at a company for 55 years, because it's not something that you really hear of nowadays, Twiggy. With careers, they're normally a little bit shorter. People chop and change all the time. Gerald's a true company man, if you will. He adores his job, so let's have a natter with him. Let's make my way over the top of a lot of stone, dodging a few puddles. And Gerald, he doesn't look 76. He looks like a very young man dressed in bright orange high-vis, some toe-tector boots on, a big white safety hat. Gerald, morning, 55 years here at Longcliffe. What do you like about the job so much?
I've just got to get used to it first. I just like what I'm doing, and that's it. I've come here. I've had 6 jobs before I come here, but then I got attached to this job, so that's it.
Can you remember the 1st of April 1968 when you first started? Can you take me back to the swinging 60s? What was it like here at Longcliffe?
Well, when I first come for a job here, manager was out on site, so they sent me down to see him in quarry. And he didn't have any high-vis, hide helmets, nothing. And I saw him at they got a new machine on demonstration, and they were talking to me. And he set me on there and then.
Wow.
So he gave me a job then, so I started next day.
And ever since that first time that you jumped inside the cab of one of these big machines, you must have loved it. When I saw you get out of the cab early, you had a massive smile on your face. What do you like about it?
I'm out at way, I come away from home.
You come away from home. Well, I do know that you have a very good lady wife at home. Are you working so much because you want to get away from her slightly?
No, not really. I'm meant to say that on radio, had I?
You've talked about a couple of changes. When you first came here, the safety wasn't as much of a priority as it is today. I'm even here in toe-tector boots and I've got a bright high-vis jacket on. What are the biggest changes that you've seen over the course of more than half a century?
Well, partly the health and safety, probably the biggest, but we're just a smallish. I didn't do much. I started in bagging shed, actually,
right.
And then a chap left on one at loading shovels, so I went on to that then, and then I started on face loading with wheel loaders, and I did 20 years at wheel loading on face, and then we've gone on to excavators now, and I've done like 25 years on excavators now.
Absolutely fantastic. Someone that is smiling and is stood next to you, Stephen Nobby Roper. Nobby, tell me about Gerald. This man is clearly a legend if he's been here for such a long while.
He is, Jack, yeah. He's one in a million, and he's words can't explain, to be fair. He's here every day. He's a hungry man.
How good of a excavator driver is he? Because surely they wouldn't have kept him on for such a long while if he wasn't that good.
Well, it would be very hard to find another Gerald.
Okay.
And when he's out there, the jobs he does and the way he leaves things, he's superb.
absolutely spotless, and I can look over and see your hard workmanship this morning, Gerald, and you've been working at a fast rate of knots and clearing plenty of the quarried material, popping it in the back of the digger, and it's going to be sent off for processing. Gerald, talk to me about one of the first jobs that you did when you joined Longcliffe. It related to now the big boss, Robert Shields. What were you in charge of when it comes to Robert when he was a young man?
I was just on a wheel loader, loading stone at face with them days. Yeah. And his dad, his father used to bring him in and drop him off for a bit of experience around quarry, I think. And his father used to come to me one day and says, "Don't let Robert get on these machines," he says, "and shift him off if he gets on them," because he knew what he was like. Yeah. And so I'd try and keep Robert off some of the machines, but it was a bit impossible, but he...
So not only were you actually doing your own job of quarrying, you were also doing a little bit of babysitting.
Yeah, we could say that, yeah, with him.
Talk to me about the best things about your job. If you had to sell your job doing the excavating to anyone that had listened, what would you tell them about your job, Gerald?
I'm not sure, really. It's just you get satisfaction out of making something, clearing something up, I suppose, and safe, and sorting it out as you go along.
What's the most difficult thing about the job? I can imagine being in the cab for 11 hours a day. Does it get a bit lonely?
No, I don't mind that. No. You've got radios now you can listen to on them.
Hey, listening to radios, what are you listening to?
Oh, we'll have to be Radio Dog.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Thank you very much, Gerald. Hey. Also, alongside Ian MacDonald, who's the one of the development directors here. You were actually Gerald's manager for about 25 years. I was, yeah. What was the toughest thing about managing Gerald?
Getting him to go home. taking his holidays. Usually have to manage them. At the end of the year, we'd have to arrange when his days were off, and then Gerald would try and work Fridays so he could come in Saturday, because we used to have a scheme where if you were off on the week on the Friday, you wouldn't come to work on the Saturday. 30 odd years ago, Saturday was quite a big increment on your pay. So, but also it was the day when all the development was going on, so that was the day that Gerald was doing what he was enjoying the most, which was actually working with them, just his machine and just him, making it ready for the week in front.
Is it still the case now, even though you're not his manager? Do you talk to the other guys on site and say, "Oh, Gerald still's got loads of holidays to take, we need to get him to put his feet up"?
Yeah, yes, I'm sure it is, and he now gets a loyalty day, so there's an extra day now that they've got to manage, but I'm sure that they're managing it a bit easier now.
It's amazing, isn't it, for one person to be at a single firm for 55 years. How do people that work here at Longcliffe describe Gerald? Because I've been alongside him for an hour and a half this morning, and you wouldn't think he's 76. His enthusiasm's just infectious.
Yeah, he's a respected person. There's nobody got a bad word to say about him, and he's a knowledgeable. Well, he is. In regards to quarrying and techniques, he is our sort of go-to guy, and everybody will sort of talk about how Gerald would manage to do things that possibly we can't manage to do now.
So he is the go-to man and has got all the brains and the knowledge for what he does. Gerald, we mentioned earlier about how you perhaps might not be celebrating your 55th anniversary working at the firm tomorrow. You've got no specific plans, have you?
No, none at all.
Well, I tell you what, I've got a plan what we can do this morning. If I could just usher over Stephen Nobby Roper. I understand there's a few people that work on the site that have got a fairly decent singing voice. What we're going to do, Stephen, is all together we're going to sing in the style of Happy Birthday, Happy Anniversary to Gerald. You're up for that?
Yeah, no problem.
Are you ready to be serenaded, Gerald?
I'll have no choice.
Right, you're right, you've got no choice. All together, chaps. 3, 2, 1. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, dear Gerald. Happy anniversary to you. Anyway, hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Oh, Gerald Lees celebrating 55 years.
Brilliant.
Up here at Longcliffe Quarry. What an amazing chap.